video.
Mm-hmm. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight on Cryptids Part 2. Thank you for joining Within the Cauldron. My co-star tonight, we have many. My husband, Chris, Bradley from the UK, and my sister, Sherry from the UK.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. How you guys doing? We have Michael Gouger with us from This Weird World podcast. And welcome, brother. We're going to talk about cryptids tonight, which is really cool. Thank y'all for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Michael has a YouTube channel, which is down below that I put down. He's been doing this for 4 years now. How long have you been looking for cryptids?
Over 20.
Oh, wow.
Oh. I started at 18 and I'm fixing to be 44.
Oh, we don't tell our age on here. It's okay. Wow, that's a long time. That is a long time. And so you'd be looking for cryptids in just the United States then?
Mainly the Southeast, but I'm also big into Irish and Northern Ireland folklore.
Oh.
Wow.
I bet cool. Sherry and Bradley can help you on some of those stories they might have heard back there since they live in the UK.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's a lot of it. And there's Welsh, Scottish, English, and Irish folklore about leprechauns and stuff like that. Are they real? You know, are they myths? We know the answers, don't we, Sherry? They're quite a lot. We're quite affluent in that sort of field. Yeah, like ask us anything, Michael.
Screaming Lady. There's so many different weird cryptids.
And to top it all, Sherry has got an amazing video, one of the best videos I've ever seen in my life, of a fairy. And Sherry slowed it down. And when you watch it again, she slowed it down even more. And you can see the fairy. Transparent and totally clear. Very impressive. Very impressive cat levels.
Very impressive. So, Michael, now I know that Bigfoot is he's like the bomb. He's like number one guy out there. Who do you think is like number 2, number 3 in cryptids?
Right now, it looks more like Dogman is actually neck and neck with Bigfoot. I mean, for years, Bigfoot had the ring, but now I'm hearing that Dogman's the new sexy it character.
I think
I have a question.
Been around for years, personally.
Have you ever heard of an entity, a character called Hollow Man?
I have, but
there are sightings. There are sightings of Hollow Man, and if you meet him, it could be at your own peril because very rarely do people survive. And he can teleport, and he can mind read, and he has telekinesis. He can stretch his arms. Yeah, phenomenal. And there is an evidential account of a victim of these in a police station, being interviewed by a policeman. The door was closed, and Hollow Man turned up there at the police station, and he took both of them with him. They fired at him, and when the rest of the police went into the interview room, there was no one there. The two individuals were gone. The policeman and the victim were gone. How about
that? Wow.
Wow.
So who's number 3, you think, Michael? I agree on the Dogman. I really do agree because I have heard stories more on Bigfoot and him. How about Mothman? Will he be like number
Mothman,
3?
that's who I was thinking. Yeah, Mothman. I
That
would have
was
go
what
with
was
him.
in my head, Mothman.
Mothman sightings have went up from different states now. Like there's one in Chicago that's been seen around the airport. One's actually been sighted in South Georgia here. And I forget, there's another one seen somewhere else in the U.S. I can't remember exactly what state. But I always heard if you see them, something bad happens afterwards. So
I'm not
Yeah.
sure. I'm not really sure on like what it's supposed to look like or anything like that, because like I had this strange experience at the graveyard that I go to, and it's got a really tall tower in it with like the windows at the top have got no glass or anything like that. And there was one night I was walking around there because I always go to see the spirits and talk to the spirits, and I just happened to come around the front and I was looking up at the tower and I see this tall figured thing with these long brown wings just come off this tower thing and just fly through the sky and disappear. And I stood there with my mouth wide open, like, what the hell was that? And it made this most weirdest noise as well. It was like I was just like, what the hell? Literally, I think that was the only time I've ever run from an investigation. That was like
what's called a harpy, or you could have seen a living gargoyle.
Well, whatever it was very tall.
Well,
Oh my God.
Its wings out. I've never seen wings like it. It was like dragon wings. It looked like dragon wings, but it wasn't a dragon because I work with dragons. And it literally swooped, made this weird noise, and gone.
Sounds more like a harpy. We're supposed to have one where I live that goes back and forth from here to another city, just flying around. So I've never seen it.
Yeah, no, that was the only time I've ever seen it. I do go past it all the time looking to see if I can see it again, and I've never seen it again. But that one night, it wanted me to see it. It literally come off this, it landed on the roof, it come out of the window and onto the roof bit, and then it just, the wings come out and whatever it done, like weird noise, and just gone. I was just like, what the?
So, Michael, do you have a group that you go kind of like hang out with and say, hey, let's go cryptid hunting? Or
I used to, a group of law enforcement officers here. We used to hang out and do stuff, but I retired out from being a cop, and now I'm coaching rugby, so don't really have a lot of time.
Oh, as long as you don't go out by yourself. I think it'd be kind of scary. Really. You're located in Alabama, is that correct?
Well, I live in Georgia now.
Oh, Georgia, that's it, Georgia. Cool. Good old Georgia peach. So with
there's
with the cryptids that, I mean, have you ever heard of anybody actually catching a cryptid?
No, not here.
Not here, or any place in the United States, or overseas?
I heard the tale. I think it was either the Chickasaw natives or the Creek that supposedly fought a war with some, and they killed a couple.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Yeah, here in Iowa, they have Bigfoot sightings all the time, and I do believe that there are dogmen here in Iowa. I think I've actually seen one, but didn't know what it was because I was like 16 years old kid, back in the day up in a barn. It was getting about nighttime, and I was inside this barn, and it had some hay stacked up toward the back, and it had a gap, because of the heat, to make sure it wouldn't catch fire. But something came up behind that thing, and I ran. I'm telling you, those eyes were bright.
Yeah.
Yeah, scary.
I've got red eyes.
I think we've seen Mothman before.
Hey, he's the answer.
I know. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I've got reports of seeing red eyes. Now, what I seen actually had blue eyes,
Oh wow.
and it looked like a husky.
I was seeing like almost like a glow in the dark green, tint to it. It was phenomenal because it was taking like 3 foot steps up the back of this hay bale thing.
Mhm.
And I'll tell you what, I'd never seen anything like it before in my whole life. And when it howled, it just vibrated my chest. I was gone.
Well, there's
Yeah.
old stories that they can use a certain frequency of bass that is supposed to be able to give you that fight or flight instinct, and it more so leans on the flight.
Yeah. I can see why.
Hmm.
I was told you could actually smell Bigfoot long before you see him. You smell it,
There-
or you can smell where he's been.
I have smelled different smells. I've smelled the wet dog, and I've smelled more of a sulfur smell.
Oh wow.
Yeah. We're gonna have someone else to come on, another friend. So just a minute. Hey Mark, how you doing?
Yo, what's up, Yaki? I'm good. How about you?
I'm
All
not.
right.
Hi, buddy.
Sherry and Bradley. This is Michael
Terry.
from
Hi,
Georgia.
Michael.
How you doing?
Oh, you're close to my neck of the woods,
Where you at?
East Tennessee. East Tennessee, near the Cherokee National Forest.
Got you.
So now, Mark, have you ever done cryptids before? Have you ever seen one
I'm
or heard of
quite
some?
many. Yes, I'm quite experienced with cryptids. More especially what we call or refer to in my culture as the Sukaloo.
Yeah.
That means
Mark,
Bigfoot in Cherokee or Chiligi.
okay.
Yeah, well, we've got other cryptids here too, and yeah, it's kind of a passion of mine. And I'm sorry I would have been here quicker, but I didn't know ahead of time, and I was busy watering the greenhouse. I didn't think you wanted to see the pink plant lights.
No, that's okay. We're just having a fun time with Michael. He is a YouTuber as well, has his own
Awesome.
YouTube channel that's down below. And you've been doing, you said you've been doing this for a long time, 20 years plus.
Yes, I am.
Oh my goodness.
I have this one question that always aches my mind.
Mhm.
We go out and look for these creatures. My
Mhm.
biggest question is, what are you going to do once you catch one? Once you do that real
Well,
face-to-face encounter,
wouldn't you think it would be more detrimental to the creature? Because look at mankind's nature. We destroy what we don't understand. I mean, the last white rhino died off because of mankind's inability to live within the boundaries of nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would think that the creature would have more of the fear.
Yeah. How about
And
you,
that,
Michael? What would you do? Would you be friends with it? With me, you know what I would do personally? If I see, let's say, Bigfoot or something, I'd be the stupid idiot that would go and go, "Hey, how you doing, bud?"
me personally, I would want them to show me how to disappear for around people like they do, because, like he said, look at how people are nowadays. I mean, I agree with them. Stay hidden.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They
I
don't.
don't blame him.
that's true. Why do
They
you
don't.
think people likes to go out and try to find them? Just curiosity to say like, oh, they're real or what?
I've seen some people that they want to kill them.
Um,
I've seen some people just want to prove their existence.
I don't know what happened to the fee. There I
And
am.
I've seen some people just enjoy being outside and know that they're there and just want to cast footprints and look for evidence.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really hang out with the people that want to kill them. That's not me.
Yeah.
Yay! I like him already.
I'm not out to kill anything.
I think it'd just be interesting because of the curiosity of hearing, you know, the legends and everything. You know, like I said, I'll probably go up and ask a dozen questions to them and try to be friends with them.
It'll be the log that gets thrown. You know what I'm saying? You know how Bigfoot will pick up sticks and stuff and logs and throw it?
Yeah.
It should be that one that goes, "Hey, how you doing?" And walk up there and get scooped up, and you can have her back.
I think if I was to come into face to face with a Bigfoot, I think I'd keep my distance a little bit. I'd want to probably research and study him, watch how he lives, watch what he does in his habitat, how he does the things that he does, how he is able to just vanish like that and not be seen unless he wants to be. Like, I would want to study and research him and try to befriend him, obviously, because for me, it's not the investigation side of it that I do it for. I do it because I want to be able to be accepting to all creatures, because I believe we're all equal, should be able to live in one place. So I want to be able to give that sort of atmosphere off to them, that they're safe around, around me. So I'd adapt to his habitat. I'd learn how to live by his habitat, just so that he sees that I've got that.
Hey, Mark, I got a question for you. Do you think that Bigfoot's interdimensional, where he can step from one realm to another realm, or from one dimension to another? Do you think that, or do you think that he's just a nature-based creature like we are?
I'm a little bit odd about things because I feel that they evolved from the Gigantopithecus.
Okay.
But anything is possible. I don't rule anything out. I never have. Anything's possible. I mean, if they can go into another dimension, I ain't ruling that out one bit.
I think there's more than one, actually, more than one Bigfoot, and I think they teleport, to other locations. That's why they seem all over the place.
I think that to me, it seems like with the very descriptions, they're really like humans, where we have different races of humans. Why can't there be different skin tones, hair textures, and things, associated with humans to the Bigfoot?
More intelligent.
Oh yeah,
they're
definitely
more intelligent than us.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Oh yeah, they very much so are more intelligent than us.
And I do think that they mix with how they live as well. I think some of them are interdimensional, some of them stay here. I just think that they're all in different types. Because I remember my pops, which is my shaman teacher, saying that he'd had an experience with a Bigfoot.
Look what I got on.
This it's so cute. See a Bigfoot bathing in the water with its baby or something, and it acknowledged that he was there, but he didn't go up to it to startle it. He just sat there and watched it. And he said that he watched this creature acknowledge him and nod as he nodded at him, like it understood what he was doing, like nodding at him, like he showed back that he acknowledged him. And he picked its baby up, and he said that he see it walking up a hill, and he just see it go into thin air, like there must have been some sort of doorway, and it just walked through a doorway. It just disappeared. There weren't any. It didn't go down the hill or do anything. It walked into this area and just gone. And he's had another experience where he'd followed he'd followed it so far, then its footprints changed. It went from being like a Bigfoot size to a wolf, and he see this wolf morph in front of him and go across the thing, and that was where the Bigfoot was. But Bigfoot had disappeared. So I do believe they can shapeshift in ways as well. Some of them, I think they can change their appearances to get away quicker.
Yeah.
Now that sounds like a skinwalker.
That sounds more like a definitely skinwalker.
Well, yeah,
There is a connection. You're right, Sherry.
He is native, and he said it was this big hairy ape, and I don't think he's going to mistaken that for a one of those.
I think that there is a UFO interdimensional crossover. I do think that there is some sort of, because often you will see lights or UFOs or orbs near where you'll see one. And I'm going to give a little background here. I don't normally do this. In the service, I was referred to as a hog. In the Marine Corps, you could call that a hunter of gunmen. That's a scout sniper. And I've tracked things in lots of inconspicuous places. But I'll say this, I've never tracked anything quite like this, that tracks can disappear. And I'm 5/8 Chaligi. I'm federally carded Cherokee Indian. I have Apache and Choctaw in me. And I have never tracked anything with the abilities that this thing has. I'll say that. They're very beyond intelligent. And remember that the U.S. Army Rangers manual that created the Rogers Rangers, or the Army Rangers, was skills acquired from us Native Americans. So when a Native American tells you can't really track these things for any great distance, that's saying something, or a skilled tracker. And I bet you the gentleman in the group here from Georgia can probably relate to that as well. You may track him a mile, but you will lose the tracks, unlike any other animal.
Every time.
So, Michael, do you encounter dogmen a lot from where you're at? Is there a lot of sightings down around that area?
I've heard of very few. Just a county, but had just very few, like maybe one or two, but nothing concrete on it.
Yeah.
The dogman is just a werewolf, right?
Yeah.
No, it's not. I have been told it wasn't. The ears are different and the tail's different. Because I went to this Facebook group called the Cryptid Wrangler. I think that's where I met Michael, actually. And then I asked that question about it, if it's the same thing. I had tons and tons of comments of saying, no, it's not the same. So,
well, they evolved in the modern day, whereas the werewolf's roots stretch back thousands and thousands of years throughout tribal legends and through legends internationally. So when you're dealing with a species of modern day construction, it's kind of like, I'm an organic farmer, but a lot of people don't think it's hip and cool to be called a farmer anymore, so they want to be called a homesteader. A homesteader is a farmer, irregardless what you call it. And you got to understand that there's variations in species, just like the Sukaloo. The Bigfoot has multiple types of Bigfoot, but they're still Bigfoot, just like a human being. I'll give you an example. In combat diver school in Panama City Beach, I learned that there wasn't a lot of black seals. And I thought, what is this, a racial issue? What's going on here? And to find out that black men actually have 2 extra ligaments in their legs than their white counterparts. And that makes them better at running and jumping, but they don't have the fat content to their legs that the other races have. So they're less apt to be effective swimmers. So there's genetic variation even in humanity that we're just now beginning to understand, So it's the same with other cryptid species. A lot of people don't even see a cryptid, and I'll explain why. A lot of people that live in the city are not attuned to seeing a deer will be standing and driving down the road with deer grazing all over near their car, and they never see the deer. And I come to this conclusion because back when we were kids, there's this plant called ginseng. We call it singing. So you go ginsenging, and if you got good at finding it, you could look halfway down the hillside and spot the tops of the ginseng. Most people can't see it if they're standing on top of it. But once you get in tune to something, you're more receptive. And I think it's the same with a cryptid too. If your mind's open to it, you're much more receptive to actually see something that's not normal.
I know. I think that's where I met you, Michael. Was that at the Facebook group, the Cryptid Wrangler, is where we met?
Yes, ma'am.
Ooh.
Yeah, yeah. It's I really highly suggest that group. I've been on it for probably a few months now, and
That's
I
cool.
really enjoy it. I'm kind of like a silent person unless I want to say something because I enjoy just reading the post on there too. So, but that's the Cryptid Wrangler on Facebook. Check it out. It's a pretty good Facebook page or group, I should say. Michael, with the cryptids, um, what is your favorite one that you would say that you just love?
Love or wants to see.
Wants to see. Oh, I don't know if I want to see
I don't know if there's any love except there.
it.
Well, I kind of have two. Alabama white thing, and I'd love to really see a lake monster.
What monster?
A lake monster.
Lake monster. Okay, so explain what those two are to the audience who doesn't know, or to me who don't know.
Well, the Alabama white thing is an elderly Sasquatch. That's the best way. That's the one that gets the most credit for being the white thing. And he is grumpy. He's ill. He don't want you on his lawn. He wants you to leave him alone, and he wants to be left alone. I mean, that's number one. He ain't gonna mess with you unless you mess with him. He'll throw your garbage can halfway down the road, but he don't want you messing with him at all. And he's very popular in central Alabama. In northern Alabama, you have people seeing a white canine-like creature. And he is said to be very aggressive. In what's called the Talladega National Forest, you have a cat-like creature that's white.
Oh, I heard of that. I heard of that.
And also, that's where most of your Wampus cat sightings are as well.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
In South Alabama, you have it's a being of pure light.
Hmm.
Also,
That's cool.
South Alabama, you have the Mobile Wolf Woman. And one of my favorites in Clark County, Alabama, which they're very southern, you have what they call the Stankin' Thing.
Wow.
That sounds like a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Wow.
Alabama has a lot of great cryptids.
Oh man.
Tennessee
I
too.
I
Well,
can't.
we have family down there. We should go and visit and just for cryptids.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
The Bigfoot Museum in Georgia rocks.
We're Cherry Hill or Pine?
Blue Ridge. Blue Ridge.
Got you.
Yeah.
Need to go.
I just had to say I got the right T-shirt on today. This is the guy in Madisonville. It's called Legends and Lore Pizza. The whole place is decorated in cryptids. You guys would love it, and it's the best pizza there.
They do real cryptid investigations.
And they do cryptid investigations, by the way,
Oh wow.
in conjunction with
We have to come
Paranormal
on
411.
You got extra bedroom? We go on vacation.
Hey, we all need to get together on a camping trip. That's what we need to do.
Oh, awesome. Yes. I'm a big camper.
There's another cryptid. I cannot pronounce it, but it's the old Cherokee language. But every description of it was like a woolly mammoth.
Mm,
Do you know maybe?
that's cool. No, that one's a new one on me as far as what that would be. The thing that we have locally here besides the Sukaloo is we have something that's very similar to a Mothman, but it's different variation, and people have seen it since about 1916. It's a gargoyle, is what it is,
No.
and I have seen it 3 times personally myself. First time I seen it, I really didn't want to believe it because it looked more like the Jeeper Creeper than I wanted to believe. But I couldn't make out its head, but its wings were like a bat. You could see through them, and it was not a fun time. My son, all 6'2" of him, saw it, scared him, and then my cousin, 6'6", who's a professional nomadic person, aka hobo, has traveled the world for the last 30 years on the road. Scared him so bad he liked to mess himself.
Oh my gosh.
So anything that will scare a homeless guy that is that big, that bad, this thing is pretty. And we really don't know what to make of it. No one's really made out the head of it. It takes off too quickly. You can catch glimpses that the arms and the legs are human-like. They have claws. It has translucent wings. It's a grayish color, but when the wingspan, each wing is as long as a Chevy Nova, you know that ain't no little animal coming off the ground. And I don't know anything that's that unusual and different. I really don't want on the bad end of it. You know?
Yeah.
It's kind of spooky. And then there's a devil dog in Black Hollow in Roane County that's pretty famous. It's had several fatalities. There's a local lycanthrope here, a werewolf. There has been fatalities in my county and the 3 counties around me.
Dog man.
Some people call it a dog man. Some people call it a werewolf. It looks more like the classic werewolf, I would think.
Guys were investigating it.
But it's actually had human fatalities we know of. Then there's something that's living in the Watts bar in the water that is responsible for drowning people, and they never find the bodies. So Watts bar is a big nuclear plant, hooks into the same river that Oak Ridge does, so lots of nuclear stuff there. And it's said that it's some sort of a giant predatory fish. And I do mean giant. It capsizes boats even, and they have found physical damages on boats. I'm actually writing a book about it right now. It's called The Thing from Watts Bar. But if you look at how many fatalities have taken place there unconventionally, experienced swimmers drowning unexpectedly, not finding any remains or bodies, that's pretty significant.
Wow. But
I know we had something. I don't know how far away you are from Dalton, Georgia.
Not too far. I'm in Sweetwater, halfway between Knoxville and Chattanooga.
There's what you just said. It's been cited from here to Dalton, so
it could be the same thing because all them rivers and locks tie together.
Oh yeah, I'm talking about the gargoyle.
Oh, the gargoyle. Oh, wow.
And it's
I'm researching that now.
We've seen that people met us and they'll see the
Here is called the harpy.
Oh wow, that's cool.
But it's the exact same description.
No, that's cool.
So whatever it is, it goes from here, there. There ain't no telling where it's at right now.
It makes you wonder if the harpy and the gargoyle and the mothman are similar species or variations of something. Because if you ask 5 people a description, you're going to get 5 different tales. Bear that in mind. And, You know, and of course, if they single out one specific item, like, well, you know, the devil dog has got, you know, solid black eyes, black as coal, no white to its eyes. You know, people will zoom in on that detail because that's what they notice sticks out in their head, just like the smell of a Bigfoot. You know, they'll cue up to certain things that when they experience something, they'll say, "Yeah, I saw that," but they miss the other things. You know, some of the other details. It's pretty frightening when you run across a real cryptid.
Yeah, I think a lot of the description is, you know, like was mentioned earlier, the fight or flight. You know,
Oh yeah.
you have been trained like a soldier or something, you're going to run. Or turn your back and run.
Oh, I ran. I ran.
First time I've
Oh,
seen you afraid.
I'm gonna let Barbara tell you something funny. That's true.
The night he saw it, and we've seen cryptids. We'll do cryptids. We've had a Sasquatch for years that comes here. But the night he saw that gargoyle looking thing, he ran inside. His face was gray, and that is literally the first time that we've been together that I ever seen him afraid. And he locked the door. He was afraid to go back outside. He was terrified. I mean, it literally scared him that bad.
I would be too.
Let's put it this way: I've got MP5K and 223 and a sniper rifle here that I keep on hand, and I would not go outside armed. If that tells you after seeing this thing.
Yeah, I'll put it to you this way. My little encounter when I was like 16 to 19 years old with what I think is a dog man. I wouldn't go back down in that place unless I was armed.
Right.
That's how bad it scared me.
Yeah.
My understanding of the dog man, if it's not a werewolf or a subspecies of it, it's as aggressive, maybe even worse.
Yeah.
I think that the old loup-garou, or they'll call them a rougarou in Louisiana, which rougarou is just a different phonetic way of saying loup-garou of France.
Yeah.
And you know, we cheerleagy. That's why I have a pad like a dog in my hand. I'm Aniawaya, which means, you would call it Wolf Clan in English, but it's not how we say it. Ani means people of, so it's people of the wolf. But it was said to be our tribal protectors. The werewolf was. As a people, it's one of the several protectors that the Cherokee used supernaturally, and I do believe there's some validity to it, to be honest.
Yeah. Now, in our traditional beliefs, we believe that a person can shapeshift into a wolf. And
they can.
Our tradition is, if you do that too much, you become the wolf.
Yeah.
You become that werewolf. And you get those traits. You know,
I think it depends on the type, because the older, more experienced of that species have more control. They don't have what we call an IVW, or an involuntary wolf out. They won't react as violently to a full moon, even though there's still a high energy draw that is almost electrical in nature. Best way I can describe it. I might have a little more knowledge there in that field, but there definitely is something to that. And I don't think that I would not say that they're necessarily killed by silver. I'm just going to say that. I think they're more distracted by silver, because those that I have met that I think that are under that persuasion seem to collect silver. So if you're allergic to it and it kills you, you don't really collect it. But now, if you throw silver down on the ground, it's guaranteed that the werewolf is more than likely going to stop and collect the silver, thus giving you time to get away.
Michael, you said you was used to be a police officer, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Deputy sheriff.
When you was on duty, did you had any phone calls about people seeing like cryptids or anything?
We'd get some every now and then, and most of ours was like people seeing UFOs and whatnot.
Mm,
Wow.
So
that's
Wasn't
cool.
really do for one of them. I mean, call it
have you
land.
ever seen a UFO?
I've seen some weird stuff in the sky, but
Just don't know for sure what. Yeah, I know. We have seen, actually, we have seen UFOs about 3 times. Um, when you see them, you are just like, no, no, no. I'm hallucinating, but no. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't see them that long. It's only probably less than 30, about 30 seconds or less, and they're out of there. But yeah, some crazy stuff has happened to us personally when with UFO sightings, and yes, you can say just like the car locks going up and down, radio going out, headlights going off, in a very dark area, and then all of a sudden come on, you know. And when we lived in Colorado, we had we was coming from the sand dunes out there in Colorado, and we saw like I guess you could say maybe it was a rake or maybe a slender man, coming out of the ditch with long arms, and we saw that arm with the hands, and we were like, we're out of there. We sped by real fast, didn't look behind us or nothing, that was it. And
sounds like me. The first and last time I went for paranormal research, a friend of mine, she got me with her. This is 2002. And she got me with her and her group, and we went to this old school in Gadsden, Alabama. And she was right beside me, and all of a sudden something grabbed and just drug her down the hall.
Wow.
wow.
I looked, I was like, nope, not for me. If I can see it, I might can fight it, but I can't see it, I can't hit it. Bye.
Sherry does she does paranormal investigations in the UK. So I'm pretty sure she has probably seen more than what she wanted to when it comes to the paranormal, right, sis?
I I think my most scariest experiences was the one when I was attacked by a dark energy. But there was one in a fit. There was a. I go down to a lake just down here. I like to go down there because there's a lot of the spirit energy that I communicate and talk to over there. So I was there one night, just like talking away on my box and stuff like that. And I just started getting like this voice coming over, going on about wanting to bite my neck and stuff like this. And I was like, what the hell? Like, and I moved backwards and I was like standing and I was looking towards the green bit where the opening is to go down to where the lake is. And I see this figure just appear in the middle of this pathway. And I'm like, what the hell? And I'm standing there like looking, because obviously I can see them and that, but this just did not look like any spirit I normally communicate with. The next minute, it like turns round, so it's facing backwards, and it bends right back, and it's running like bent backwards, like it was weird. That did make me run because that was not normal. I've never seen any of my spirit people bend halfway backwards and start running like frantically. That was really creepy. And I don't normally get scared very much by spirit or anything like that. I've been able to see them since I was 5, but that, yeah, I hope I never see that again. And I've seen a lot of weird things that you wouldn't be able to like explain, like even Primrose. Like a lot of people like are blown away by her, seeing her, and they're like, but how do these energies communicate? It just takes time and patience, but I didn't have time and patience for that thing. I wasn't even expecting to see it. At first just looked like a figure standing there looking at me. It just went bent backwards, and I was just like, huh? It's like, hell no! It was like, that's not good news if it's doing weird stuff like that. So I was like, gone.
Oh wow.
All you see is my camera just like shaking everywhere where I'm running. So I didn't care how my camera was aiming. I was gone.
Oh my goodness. Michael, have you ever done paranormal investigations too?
That was my first time and last time that I knew what I was doing. The second time, we was looking for green eyes in Chickamauga. So they brought me because I was a cryptid hunter. And I'm just going to say, it's not cryptid.
It's not. Yeah, a lot of people just, I think they get confused of what is cryptid and what is like the supernatural, the paranormal.
Well, everybody kind of groups everything into paranormal. I look at crypto and cryptids as cryptozoology, and then paranormal as its own thing.
Yeah.
Like it's two different things.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel
agree.
like
Yeah.
I kind of feel like in a way they disrespect paranormal researchers when they put cryptids in there. And I feel like they disrespect the cryptid hunters, the cryptozoology, when they pair that with paranormal.
Yeah.
And also the ufologists, the ones that study UFOs. Not everything is paranormal. Not everything's a cryptid.
That's for sure.
I agree with that.
Oh yeah.
So have you ever encountered like shadow people before?
I haven't.
Michael?
I've heard many stories about Hat Man, but never encountered anything like that.
I have. When I came back from Desert Shield, Desert Storm, well, Mark can attest to this. Usually when you come home, you're angry. And the best thing about the United States Fighting Force is by the time we go from point A to point B, we're already angry because we had to sacrifice comfort. And when I came back home, you have that negativity and it drawed it right in on me. I mean, continuously seeing it.
My wife has seen shadows and shadow people, but I never have.
I've seen them. I've seen several of them. Barbara has seen them as well too. So kind of think I wasn't crazy because at the time I was a licensed psych counselor working at the worst psych facility in the state. And then an area called SKU, a special care unit at Peninsula Behavioral Health in Knoxville. And I run across one there in the hallway one night about 3 o'clock in the morning. And I thought it was a patient up walking around. It was kind of our job to make sure that they didn't get out of the rooms. And, there's bathrooms in every room, and usually there's 3 beds to a room. And something was walking down the hallway. So I proceeded to follow it, and I was going to find out what it was. And I had a habit of drinking my coffee and wearing my combat boots. And people would laugh, and I said, it's all good until my coffee would spill. And the entire time I was there, I never had a physical hold on my floor. I think maybe I might have intimidated a few. But I started to follow it down the hallway, and it just vanished into thin air. And it peeked around the corner about 3 or 4 times at me that night. And it was definitely a shadow person. I've seen them before in the Bell Witch Cave in Adams, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Seen them in other locations, Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary, for another. They will associate with negative energy sites. And they are quite malevolent. And our tribe even has tales of these things. So I know that it's not just one person. It goes back quite some way. They're kind of hard to explain. I think haven't they been referred to as a shade in the past as well too?
Now that I didn't know.
Yeah, I think a shade and the shadow people are similar. It's both a translucent shadow of a humanoid that can inflict, and they can actually inflict bodily harm on you, like a poltergeist. They have the ability to cause physical harm, psychological, emotional harm, and physical harm. And I've not heard of any deaths necessarily accountable to any, but I have heard tribal legends that they can, in fact, take that. No matter of fact, there's two great examples of spiritual entities in our legends. One was called Stonecoat, and one was called Spearfinger, and they were known to employ that type of entity
Wow.
to do their dirty work, along with the devil dog.
Hey,
Yeah, I understand a little bit about shades. Shades, from what I understand, could be summoned and conjured using words of power from rituals, which is a form of necromancy that Merlin was familiar with. You could summon and conjure a shade. There's two kinds of shade. There's a shade that will actually perform a task on the sorcerer's behalf, and then once it has completed that task, it will disperse into the atmosphere. Then there's the other kind of shade that a sorcerer can summon and conjure, and that shade will actually perform the task required by the sorcerer, numerous tasks. And as Mark was saying, the shade is very powerful and like can kill you, throw you across the room. Normally, it's unlucky to meet a shade. I have, like, when I was age 12, awoken and saw a shade beside my bed. And I know Merlin is familiar with shades. I wasn't alarmed, although I've never seen one before. The first time I've ever seen it. And it was actually looking in my bookcase, and it had a book in its hands called King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. I believe, like, that's really that's the affiliation with Merlin, the shade. But yeah, shades are real. And shades and shadow people are, like, they are different, really.
Yeah.
Also, shadows can be demons. Don't forget that shadows can be demons.
I saw one as a kid too, Bradley. I lived in a house. My parents went north for work, like most families, and I was born in Ohio. And up there, it gets really cold. We lived in a big Victorian house, and you'd sleep under a thing called an electric blanket. Back in the day, they had these little dials that would light up, and you could turn the number up. And of course, up there, you're going to turn it to 9 to stay warm. So most of the time, you didn't have to have it above a 2.5. But some reason at nighttime, mine would get turned up to 9 on both remotes, and nobody had entered my room. And I couldn't figure it out. So one night I decided to stay awake. I was going to see what was turning up that bed remote. So I hung my head off over the bed and had the covers over my head and had the remotes right on the floor underneath of me. And I drifted off some point during the night, but I heard this scratching sound. I thought, what was that? And it kind of woke me up. And I thought, well, maybe it's mom and dad coming in my room turning up them things, but they denied it. So I seen out from under my bed looked like a real gaunt hand, almost skeletal, but it was solid black. I'll never forget it, but it had big long claws on it, and it reached out from under my bed literally and turned up both of those electric blanket things. And I don't know if it was trying to drive me out from under the blanket or what, but I'm telling you what, I got real religious there for a minute because I jumped from the bed like the Exorcist into the hallway. I never hit the floor during that big giant room. I went clear across airborne, landed and looked like risky business sliding up the hallway in my tube socks. Made a double back to mom and dad's room, jumped in the bed between them, screaming, hollering. I was a little bitty kid, but it plumb traumatized me. But that was definitely a shadow person. And never did see what the arm was attached to, and I really didn't want to. And we had other people attacked in my house by that same entity. My cousin, she was 16 years old when she was knocked unconscious by it.
Oh, wow. Wow.
She would refuse to sleep in a certain room because of that thing.
I got another question to ask you, Michael. Do you guys encounter rakes and skinwalkers down around where you're at?
Actually, no. Skinwalkers are more in the Southwest. Here we have mimics.
Okay.
And mimics, I've had a call from North Carolina and it transformed into a deer. When skinwalkers more or less transform into predators.
Wow.
A mimic can transform into deer, rabbit, anything like that.
I wonder where the
we have them here too.
Really? Really?
Yeah. It's a similar thing, but he's right. They don't turn into a predator.
I don't know if I'm going to go camping again.
Why, we have good fun. What are you talking about?
I don't know. Are you going to keep us safe from the cryptids?
Well, yeah, I think so. And remember, I usually take Great Danes with me, so I raise Deuce Danes. So I keep a couple Scooby Doos with me at most times. My guys are 200, 220 pounds. But the bad thing is they're not to protect us from the cryptids. They're actually bigger cowards than we are. So if they see anything that's out of line, I promise you that the Dane is going to beat you back to the tent or the truck.
Yes, they're big dogs. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
my dad used to have one.
Just
always
like
know
Scooby Doo.
I always told people my dog have to have it in gear and going by the time you get there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. And when you get attached to a dog, you find out you get a dog, you think it's going to protect you, and you wind up being more protective of the dog, so that the bear wouldn't have to get a hold of the dog. You're more likely to whip the bear to keep the bear from eating your dog.
I had a Doberman years back that was like that. Somebody would yell, be yelling at me or something. That damn dog would turn around and run behind me and look behind my legs, be sitting there all, you know what I'm saying, where he's looking up and around like, what the heck is going on? That would be,
Yeah, true. Well, Michael, do you have anything new coming up that you're planning or?
No.
Nope. Just going to take it easy and.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. I think I would too for a while. Because you've been doing it for 20 years, so yeah. You take it easy too.
Well, I am fixing to start writing a book of southeastern cryptids.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
That would really be interesting. If you do,
well,
let me know. I help promote it and everything. So
yeah, it'd be really interesting.
that'd be cool.
I'm really starting to get into cryptids. I'm just starting to learn about them, and the whole subject fascinates me.
yeah. Yeah. That's why I like doing these cryptid shows because you learn something each time because everybody has something different, different story. It's like when we do a paranormal segment, everybody has a different story on that one too. So it's really cool. And to the audience, we are going to continue to have cryptids part 3 and part 4 in the next 2 months. So just keep a lookout for that. If you know anybody who does cryptid hunting or anything or has YouTube channel that bring them to me. I would love to put them on the show, or even if I can, one of the other podcasters that we have will. We are the Mystics team as well, so just let us know. But we're at the top of the hour, and Michael, I just want to say thank you for coming on.
Thank y'all for
I
having me.
really appreciate it, and I have a great time. And anybody who wants to go to his YouTube is down below, right there, the YouTube channel and everything. Click on it, subscribe to his channel, like it, share it out, as well as within the cauldron. Like and share and subscribe. And I just want to say, Michael, again, thank you very much. And thank you for my friends to come on and have a good show.
Yeah, thank you.
It's been awesome. Thank you.
Michael, it was a pleasure meeting you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
We should go squatch hunting.